So, am I saying that God is evil? No. If you got that message from what I said, no. God is above and around and does through all of us and through all animals and all life. Everything that exists, God is doing things. So simultaneously, one person is doing good and the other person is doing evil, but the overall picture is righteousness, being right, right? So, that being the case, you know that ultimately everything gravitates towards the right. Evil gets canceled out over time, but over a long time. It takes a long time to get rid of it, right? And sometimes God wants the evil and needs it at the same time, but it must be something that God needs. God doesn't just want outside of her needing cycle and do some evil. If she did it, she may have wanted it. She also had to have needed it. Everything she needs that happens is what she needs. It's part of his program. It's part of what God is, right? Now, to explain how the fabric works, how the structure works, we are in three-dimensional space, and simultaneously on another layer is the controllers, and then on a layer above them is God. So all space and time and all spiritual space and all other universes in that three-dimensional space is the controllers on one layer, and another layer is God. How is that possible? It's only explainable by magic, right? The idea of magic where the logic doesn't work anymore and you have to throw it out the window. And you have to say, okay, the only thing logical is to get rid of logic. It's the weirdest thing you have to do, but it's the only way to understand everything, right? So God is on the beneath everything, within everything, around everything, simultaneously in all places at once, seeing everything at once, and doing things as a singular but multi-dynamic being that fills in all the instructions for all the machines, right? We're all machines, right? Our souls are machines, our bodies are machines. It's how everything works. That's why the religion is called Mechanicism, because we're all machines. That's the point. When you leave the body, you are given your machine mind for your soul, and you think with God and you work things out and God talks to you and the other controllers can't see it. You talk to God before you come into this place and when you come out, and they can't see it, right? There's a good reason for that. They're playing a game. They're gamers. They want to do things. That's the best way of explaining it. I won't go any more details about the archangels. I don't really want to talk about them. In my case of dealing with things, my day-to-day life, I walk around, I lay down, I do anything that I do, and I'm thinking, okay, what about this and what about that? And my eyes get pulled towards the color black when it's something that black wants me to know, needs me to know. If black doesn't need me to know it, then it goes to another color that suggested the thought in my head, that gave me the idea. My eyes get pulled to the colors, and I'm always trying to get to black. That's always what I'm doing, right? And the reason for this is because through my journey, I experienced the other colors, and I learned that black had the best explanations for everything. There was always a reasonable explanation, and if I didn't know it now, eventually I learned it. And it all came from black. So Mechanicism was given to me by who I call the Lord, whose name is I am, right? Just like what was said to Moses from the burning bush, tell your people I am has sent you, or has sent the message. I can't remember right now, but the point is that her name is I am, and that's my God. That's who I worship. And I understand that there are times where she will cause me pain. She will cause me suffering. She will take family away from me. She will do these things because she needs them, right? But you have to remember that what's so good about all this is that your soul is magical. All the people you know, when they die, they do not just disappear or end up in a torture chamber. They go on storylines and they all go on great adventures and things like that. And one day you're reunited with them if you need to be or if you want to be. It happens. You get to talk to them again and be with them again in all the different ways. And it's beautiful. It's existence is ultimately beautiful. There is just this one hiccup. And you might be like, but why is God being evil? Why does God not just make a choice to stop being evil at times? God has evil within her naturally. She just exists. It's not her fault. She did not make the decision to exist. She just exists. And there's nothing behind that. It's magic. She just exists forever. And these are features about her existence that we need as part of our machine cycles. Our machines need to see evil. We need to be exposed to evil in terrible ways. And then we come out and then we go, okay, it's not that anymore. We're free. And we get to do what we need to do. If you want to protect yourself from the dangers of the underworld or pain after death, then doing what's right is the most important thing to do, what you feel is right. Somebody would say there's lots of things you can see as right, but they're not right. Kinda. Most 99% of people are set up to see murder as a bad thing, right? So these laws that are established on mechanicism.com, they teach you about what is the gravitation, like what is right in most instances, right? So sometimes there can be some confusion, but that's a good thing. You think about it before you make decisions to the best of your ability. You do what is right. That's how Mechanicism teaches. As long as you're doing what's right, you can basically escape most problems, right? Now, there's some people who are already in situations right now that aren't right, and they're wondering what happens to them. Well, the truth is that you get a complicated response package, but the way that it's kind of set up is that anyone who has some sort of religious background who followed it, that is what helps them get through problems in the afterlife, right? So, but some people are also righteous who don't believe in God. That actually gets them points too, if you want to call it that, points. That gets them a better response package if they are righteous and good person, treating people right, respectfully, honorably. These things are very, very much the quality that you need. So, you're not going to be punished dramatically for certain things, but then there's other things that will be pretty bad, right? So what does somebody do right now if they're finally hearing this and they want to change and they want to do better and they've already done something really bad? You have to repent for bad things as much as you can, but eventually you'll feel in yourself, you'll be like, I don't think this is going to be enough for what I did. So you treat people right, you go out, you help people, you give your money away to people who are starving and in pain and suffering. Things like that will help your prospect. Even if you do it for selfish reasons, you're still doing the right thing, right? So selfish reasons as in you are just giving away to get into better places in the afterlife. But that will get you what you need, right? So doing what you need and what is right, I just added the need part. Needing is important. Wanting, this place is set up so that there's a lot of things that you want that are going to get you into problems, right? Into areas that you don't want. They're not to say they're evil, all of them. Some things you would want are evil, like wanting to torture somebody is evil. You don't want to be doing anything like that, right? So Mechanicism stresses on righteousness and teaching people the right way of being to the most highest extent. At the same time, Mechanicism teaches that this world will end, right? It has to end. We don't stay here. This place sucks. Nobody wants to really stay here truly in their souls. They don't want to be here. They want to be back home where wanting is allowed pretty much to the maximum and nobody does anything anymore to hurt each other and nobody can get hurt. So that's where we all want to be. We don't want to be in this place or in the afterlife, traveling the underworld, going through all these stories of death and destruction. We don't want that. Also, stories of adultery and different things where people are getting hurt and traumatized and filled with anger and hatred. We don't want anything like that, so we have to get out of these places. And it'll take a long time to do it, right? So people would ask, how many people are going to the underworld? Millions, if not hundreds of millions. How many people are going to good places and watching the underworld? Billions. Like I've said, I just wanted to make that very clear to people. Billions and billions. So God didn't set this place up to trap everyone and put everyone through the worst thing imaginable. It doesn't work like that. It's set up to protect as many people as possible while also allowing bad things to happen, awful things to happen, and that's how it works. What happens to most Christians? Well, in Mechanicism, the way it looks is that most Christians are doing the right thing from their perspective, and they're trying to be good people. They're trying to do what Jesus wants them to do. So, lots of great things happen for them. They get very positive response packages in the afterlife. And some people would say, yeah, but they're not believing the truth. And it's like, they believe what they believe, and that's the right thing to do, and they're doing the right things, and they are turning to Christ for salvation. And that, whether Christ existed or not, which I believe he did exist, that takes them to good things. Also takes them to watch the underworld if they want to, right? The same thing applies for good Muslims. Most Muslims are good. They're going to a great place. They're going to deal with great things and do good things, right? It's fine, right? Buddhists are the same. Like, they do a lot of really good things and they get taken to really righteous situations, really excellent situations. Atheists, many atheists are good people, right? And the Lord respects that. However, there is a penalty. There is not a penalty. There is something about not believing in God that is not fortunate for yourself. But if you go through it and you are as right as you can be, you'll still make it to good places and be a watcher of the underworld. You won't have to participate in the activities that they're doing down there, that we're doing down there. The other thing to talk about is people who need things. There are some people's souls who are going to the underworld no matter what they do. They're going to be a player in the underworld no matter what they do. Why? Because their souls need it. And it's very hard to determine who that is. But some people know. They're like, no, I'm going there. That's exactly where I'm going. They know, right? And that's very important because it teaches you that the underworld, there's people who go there just to help people. There's people who go there to be part of the storyline, and they don't get into terrible situations of pain and suffering. They just deal with trying to save people from the worst punishment, the worst response packages. Sorry. See, my brain is still in the punishment sector, but it is always reminding itself it's not punishment, it's just a response, right? So there are good people who go down to the underworld. There are lots of millions of righteous people who go down to the underworld to help, to save, to go into the deepest torture systems and blow them up, right? Things like that are what the underworld is like. The underworld has lots of torture chambers that you want to blow up, ruin, destroy, lots of villains that you want to go after, lots of evil things happening that you want to stop, and that it's a long, complicated, epic storyline that pours into all these billions of dimensions, these billions of universes that connect to one another in story in some way sometimes, and it's all spilling over, and everyone's going through all these things, and it's determining things and changing things, and it's very complicated. So the underworld is something that a lot of people would think it's nothing but pain and torture and suffering. That's not how it works. There's lots of great things there. There's lots of good things. There's lots of righteous people, lots of love. There's love making there. There's all that stuff. There's drugs. There's alcohol. There's all sorts of things, right? So anybody who tries to tell you that you can't get anything you want from hell, that's not true. That's the difference with Mechanicism and any other religion, is all the other religions were set up pretty much to scare you from a place like that. But Mechanicism teaches you the truth that yes, some places in hell are very horrifying and awful. There's also some places that are beautiful and enchanted and wonderful and magical. That's how it is. There's a lot of people out there who would say, well, to tell you the truth, I want to be a vampire. And there's other people who would say, to tell you the truth, I want to be a witch, and so on and so forth. And that is what the underworld does for many people. It allows you to do and explore these different things that you want, that are magical, that are defying of all laws of physics, that you get to do, right? The catch is that you might have to go through some pain, right? The underworld asks for pain for many people. Not all people, but many people. And to be a vampire, you get to do things and enjoy things. But for example, if you were evil in life and you wanted to be a vampire, you get to be a vampire, but then you get staked, right? So that's how the underworld works things out sometimes. Sometimes it works things out different. It's very hard to compute how it all fits together. But if you want to do these different things and you want to do witchcraft and you want to do spells and you want to do all these things, that's all things that happen in the underworld, for sure. So if you um, if you want the best high quality, then you want to be a good, right person here, but want the underworld and the darkness as much as possible. But don't do that here to people. That's the critical thing. Don't do wrong. Do right, but want what you want in your mind, in your heart. And it will take you to see lots of different things related to that. That's the critical thing.